Everybody is warming up this morning with that nice breakfast, nice cup of warm coffee, whatever. But we're glad that you're spending part of your morning with us today on Operation 7570, whether you've joined us by Facebook Live, on WRJBradio.com, or at 95.9, the old traditional radio station on your FM dial. This morning in our studios, we're glad to have with us a man I've been wanting to have as a guest for a long, long time, and it finally worked out. This is the park manager down at Nathan Bedford Forrest State Park in Eva. This is our friend, Mr. Joshua Justice. I think we can call you Josh. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Great. Thanks for being here today, sir.
It's my pleasure.
You. Yeah. You and all the folks down at Nathan Bedford, you have a good Christmas, New Year's holiday season. Made it through the cold snap 3 weeks ago?
Yes, we did. Didn't have any damage or anything on the park, luckily. That was one of the things we were worried about with the cold and everything, but we made it through nice and smooth and just a few slick spots.
Anyone exactly get a little nerve, a little daring, they try to make it to the top of the knob?
No one tried to go to the knob. We usually have a few every cold spell try to get up through there. No one had the nerves to try it this year. I think it was a little too cold for them.
I can understand that for sure, let alone the little icy conditions with the cold weather. Boy, that was something else. But we want to talk about activities going on at the state park, how the past has been, 2022, and the past, and look ahead to the future, what's going on. But Josh, before we do that, when I have a guest in the studio for the first time, I like to have maybe some information, some background information. What is your background, and how did that ultimately lead to your position out at NBF?
Okay. Graduated high school in 96. Went to college at UTM for Natural Resources Management. Got to college, realized I didn't want to be in college anymore. So I did a year there, lost my scholarships, and joined the Navy. I joined the nuclear mechanic program and went from not wanting to be in college to going to one of the hardest schools in the military. So I went from college to college. Did 11 years in the Navy, stationed all over the East Coast, and then in 09, 08, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Can't do my job, can't be in the military really with something that could be considered a hazard if you're in the engineering and stuff like that. So they discharged me, went back to Martin, went back to school, finished my degree in Natural Resources Management, and got a job with state parks. Funny thing is, I lived in Martin my life and never knew that Nathan Bedford Forest State Park was here. So they said that's where I was going. I'm like, okay, great. Where's that at? And then I've been here since 2016. So
great. Glad to have you in our midst, and thank you so much. Thank you for your service to our military and the United States Navy, and it's great to have you here. And I might just ask you, your background, had you aspired, as you were growing up, were you aspiring in this sort of thing, to work with nature and the outdoors?
Yes. Okay. I've always been one of those weird kids that go out and catch snakes and lizards and scare people with them. And so I knew this was somewhere in my future. When I initially went to college, I was going to go for TWRA, and then when I came back after the military, I met Dr. Philip Smart at UTM, and I enjoyed programming. I had my own personal snakes when I was in college, and I'd take them to the schools there, and I'd do programs with them. So when I met Dr. Smart, he's real big with the state park part of it. So he's like, you might want to look at going to state parks instead of TWRA, since that's what you enjoy doing. And I got the seasonal position here the year I graduated college, and I've been here ever since, loving every minute of it.
And when the official welcome was given to you, I think last June, as a matter of fact, with the park officials and others down there, you made the comment, this was really, if someone ever had a dream job, you said you have the dream job.
Oh, I do. I get to play with snakes and work with kids and be outside all day. So that's, in my book, that's the dream job. That's the perfect job for me.
And of course, lots of activities going on down there. And why are people so scared? Most people scared of snakes then, and how can we overcome that fear? I know I did, because with Kane, as a matter of fact, just a few years ago in my 60s.
Yes, Kane is the perfect animal to overcome fears with. He is calm and just going to sit there, and he's been doing that. That's his job. He's been doing it for 15 years. From what I've seen, people that are scared of snakes, it's usually because their grandparents said, "Hey, don't play with snakes; they're going to bite you." Or so it's since they've been 2 or 3 years old, people have been telling them snakes are bad, snakes are mean, snakes are going to bite. And as an adult, it's hard for an adult to overcome their fears. So I can go into a group of kindergartners and I'll ask, "Who's scared of snakes?" before I ever start. 75% of them are going to raise their hand. At the end of the program, after I'm done talking to the snake, I can say, "Okay, who wants to pet the snake?" And every one of them is going to get in line to pet the snake. So the older I get, like going to high school, I'll take one and I'll say, same thing, "Who's scared of snakes?" About half of them raise their hand. Other half are like, "Yeah, whatever." That's just the high school way, I guess. And then at the end of the program, I was like, "Okay, who wants to pet it?" A few of those people that said they were scared of snakes will overcome their fears, but a majority of them won't. So the older we get, the more those fears are built into us, and it's harder for us to overcome them. So
Now, you still want to respect them. I mean, by
Yes,
all means, you still
yes.
want to respect any living creature.
yes,
out
I
there.
don't recommend going out
Yeah.
and just picking up a snake in your
Sure.
front yard. Even if it's not venomous, they do have teeth. They can bite and will bite. So I've been tagged a couple times, but nothing venomous, nothing bad. So, but yeah, always in a controlled environment where you know the snake and it's a fun snake.
Josh, what would be the mission statement of Tennessee State Parks? And bring it on locally here to Nathan Bedford, if you will, please, sir.
So the basic mission statement is to protect and conserve areas of natural or historical significance throughout the state, and keep that so that the public can use it and view it in perpetuity forever. Here, our park is here for the natural side of it. I know we're named for a Confederate general, but the actual battle site and everything is underwater. So we do what we can for that history, but there's really no history on the park. But I'm glad the park is where it's at, because Pilot Knob, if you look at the history of Pilot Knob, it's been used for navigation on the Tennessee River for thousands of years. There's artifacts in the old Eva archaic site that is now underwater for over, there are artifacts there found for over a 5,000 year span. So that area has been used by Native Americans for a lot longer than we've been here. So we sort of push the natural and historical side of it. We do a lot of hikes, a lot of kayak floats on the water, a lot of wildlife viewing, wildlife snake programs, owl programs, stuff like that. So the natural side is more where we want to go with it, because it's there, it's easy for us to use. And so
How many state parks are there in the overall system across Tennessee from east to west?
from east to west, if you'd asked me a month ago, it would have been 56. We just added another one. We have 57 state parks now. Savage Gulf State Park was just added recently. So we now have 57 state parks.
And I would imagine there would be a process to these areas wherever it is located. There's a process to really, as time goes along, to get it designated to state park or into the system.
Yes. It has to go through a whole long line of people to approve it. It has to end up going through a committee with the state government. So it ends up pretty much at the governor level.
Now, of course, Natchez Trace, Paris Landing, NBF down here, of course, history with all these facilities, history with all of the facilities, scenic beauty, things you can do. You can do similar things at all the state parks. But are state parks, when we come down, have other designations? Might we have some state parks, historic state parks, scenic state park,
Yes.
designations like that, Josh?
Yes. And in this area, it's real noticeable because you have, just across the river, you have Johnsonville State Historic Park. And their whole mission, their whole goal is the Battle of Johnsonville, Civil War history. And they do an amazing job at that. If you have an interest in Civil War history, that is the park to go to. They do a wonderful job. And whereas, like Natchez Trace and Paris Landing, they are both resort parks. So they both have the resort, lots of cabins and lots of camping and stuff like that. Now they do each one has their own little identity. Harris Landing is known for their birds of prey, so they do a wonderful birds of prey program up there. They have a rehab center up there, and then Natchez. It's a lot of hiking and just natural beauty, getting out on the trails. And I don't know a lot about Natchez. I've only been there once or twice, honestly, but they do a great job with tying in with state forests and stuff like that. So they have a lot of land that you can use, but not all of it's state park land.
Now, I believe down Natchez Trace, you can correct me if I'm wrong, don't they have some properties, state park properties that are adjoined to what we call state forest?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They're they're connected with the state forest, and you can, they have trails through all that. You can hike all that, but so it looks like it's a huge state park, but the park area is a lot smaller than the area you can use.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, over at Paris Landing, the brand new inn facility over there,
Yes.
designated over there, and it is on park property, but isn't it sort of run independent maybe of the other park activities or?
Yes. Recently, they went to a new plan for where the hospitality side of it is ran different from the state park side. And if you haven't been to the inn at Paris Landing, we were there last night, ate dinner. It's a beautiful facility. In my opinion, it's the nicest lodge in Tennessee state parks.
Nice view of Kentucky Lake,
Yes.
Whether you're up one of the rooms looking across or taking a hike down on the beach line, shoreline down there. Beautiful, beautiful. And our friend, another Camden connection, Zach Tinkle, recently park manager. I understand he got a nice promotion here not long ago.
He did. He was the manager at Paris Landing, and he got promoted to the regional manager of Region 1, which is the far west Tennessee parks.
So he'll have jurisdiction over several state parks, I guess, or a few.
Yes.
Then, yeah.
It's the, like, Griffith Lake
Okay.
and that area over there. So.
But he'll really be in a different region than from what NBF is in. Then
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's in Region 1 and we're Region 2. So.
How many acres, let's get back to NBF, how many acres are down at the state park here at Eva right now, Josh?
We have roughly 2,700 acres. About 400 to 500 acres of that is our office and campgrounds and museum and stuff. And then the rest of it is all backcountry. We have about 20 miles of backcountry trails. And so it all goes right along the Tennessee River. Some beautiful views on some of the bluffs up there over the lake. So.
Yeah. Do you see development maybe in some of these areas that most of the general public may not be aware of? Do you see development of these areas as time goes along?
I hope not.
Okay.
We have 5 backcountry shelters right now on our trail systems, and we have a group camp. We have electricity back there, but hopefully by spring we'll have it. The bathroom back there, water running and electricity and sewage and all that, so we can actually have a good backcountry campsite. That's set up for groups of up to 50 people. They can rent it, and you are by yourself. There's no cell service. there is electricity now, and there'll be running water and bathrooms, but that's about it. It's you and nature. So we've had a few people use it now without the restroom facilities. But as far as building up anything else, that's as far as we want to go. We want to keep it as natural as possible.
Sure, absolutely.
Just keep our trails going.
And when we have systems, weather systems that come through like 3 weeks ago, or even in summertime, we have these severe storms, threats of tornadoes. Do you worry about these areas maybe sustaining damage?
Yes.
And do you and the staff check them out?
Yes. The tornado that came through in 2020, it took out about 200 to 250 acres of our trail system. So our trails were shut down for a while. We had to bring in a salvage crew, and they got all the trees that were down and cleaned it up. And since they went back there and did that for their equipment, they had to level off areas for their equipment, and that's where we put a couple of our backcountry shelters. So now there's big, large, flat areas back there on top of some of the ridges that just have amazing views of the river, because that whole tree, the whole forest was gone through there. But anytime we have a storm or high winds, we have to run the trails and make sure there's no trees down. Luckily, we have a lot of people that hike, and we have a lot of regulars that hike. And so they'll hike and they'll say, oh, you got a tree down here, here, and here, and they'll mark them on the map for us. So that helps us out, so that the 6 or 7 of us don't have to take time to run back and get them. We'll have regulars that will point them out to us.
Well, speaking of maintenance issues and upgrading, I know last summer, as a matter of fact, new paving down at Eva Beach, which really helps out at that area.
Yes, and that is not done. We will be finishing that this spring. There's an area down there that's just gravel right now. They're going to finish paving that, and they're going to mark it because it has no lines right now on any of it. So they're going to finish the paving, mark it, and other than that, Eva Beach is probably like the nicest I've seen it since I've been here. New handicap fishing pier, the boat ramp, not the ramp, the boat dock was just repaired and upgraded a little bit. So Eva Beach is looking good.
And it gets a lot of activity.
It does. When it gets warm enough for swimming weather, Eva Beach is packed every day.
Mm-hmm. It does. And kayaking down there, got access to kayaking, and people, if they want to kayak, pay by credit card down there? How's that work?
We do have 2 rental kayaks and 2 rental paddle boards, and those you can rent through the park office. And then once you rent it, we'll give you a code. You put in the code, and then it's yours for the day. It's like $30 a day for either one.
Okay. Well, Josh, how many employees are employed down at NBF?
We have 14 full-time employees, and then in the summertime we'll get a seasonal interpretive ranger and a seasonal maintenance person. Out of those, we have myself and 2 rangers that are the ranger staff. We have 3 clerks, 5 maintenance guys, and then 3 housekeepers.
Okay. Now, we refer to you as park manager, which you are, but do you also are you still ranger status, I guess
Yes.
is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still park ranger. Technically, I'm just happen to be the one in charge.
Okay. Now, do rangers and those under you, Josh, do they have to, and of course, we have the definition, we know what ranger is, but do you also have to have some law enforcement background as well, or go through police training academy?
Yes.
Police training academy?
All rangers have to be post certified,
Yeah.
so we have to go through the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in Nashville. And then there's a few other certifications we have to do. One of the other big ones is emergency medical responder. So right now, me and one of my rangers are EMR certified. The other one, as soon as they come up with the class open, we'll be doing that one. So we'll be sending him through.
Yeah. And of course, this means that you have, and hopefully you don't have to use it, but you do have arrest powers if need to be.
Yes. Most of our jurisdiction is on the park, but if the county says, hey, we have this going on up there, can y'all help out and stuff like this, we can assist off the park. Luckily, our park is family oriented. We have very few issues. I think I've been there since 16. 2 arrests, maybe 3 arrests on the park since then, and those weren't anything major. So,
And I know you, and in the past, other rangers down at NBF, you've helped with the county police department with their shop with the cops. Saw you out there a few weeks ago. Boy,
Yes.
that was a nice evening out at Walmart.
yes, that is one of my favorite off the park events, where we help other agencies. I love working with kids, and that's a great way to work with kids and give back to the community and just help out people that need it. So.
Mm-hmm. And also, talking along these lines, when we saw you last June down there at your official introduction, you love outreach. You love going out into the
Yes.
schools and the communities. So tell me, if you're available to go out to schools, of course, but beyond schools, public speaking, things like that at different groups.
Yes. For me, the biggest part about people getting to know nature is they don't always have access to it. They're if it's a little kid, like their parents at work, they can't get them out there, all that. So I enjoy going to the schools. Right now we do junior ranger in 2nd grade. We go 4 or 5 times every year, and then we have a graduation at the park where they come to us in May. What's another one? My wife's a preschool teacher, so I'm in her class regularly. But if you have any kind of needs, you want someone to come and talk. I was at the Rotary luncheon a couple weeks ago, talking to them. But just contact the office, and then they'll put you in contact with me or one of the rangers, and we'll set up something for somebody to come out and do a program. I go to UTM every semester, take the snakes up there for their vet tech class. So if you just want someone to come and talk to you, or if you want someone to bring animals, we can do both.
You mentioned your background, good background, which is able you to get your position today. But as you look at high schoolers, and I know you give advice to high school kids who may want a career into park recreation, park management. So as they leave high school, getting on into college, Josh, what is some good background? What are some good courses they need to take in college if they pursue a background like you have right now?
The good thing about state parks is you can a wide variety of backgrounds. I have natural resources management, wildlife sciences. One of my rangers is biology. The other ranger is park administration. JC that was here last year, is in history. So any degree that you can tie into something a state park does, you can get hired on. If I have advice on how to get the position, when you're in college, look for the seasonal interpretive ranger positions. Once that'll get your foot in the door, and I would say 75% of all rangers right now went through the SIR program.
And always, regardless of what park you might be assigned to, always be prepared for the unexpected and the little things that will pop up that they don't teach you in college.
Yes. It's never a dull moment on the park. There's always something that's going to pop up, and you're like, just thinking, I never expected something like that to happen, and here it is. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're about midway through our program on Operation 7570. So Luke in the other studio right now, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to play a message from our good friends who sponsor this program from Apex Bank. So we'll hear this message and be back with more talking with Josh this morning on 7570. Stay with us.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden has built a tradition of local people serving local people. Although there have been changes over the years, this one thing remains the same. Hometown people that are your friends serving you every day to meet your financial needs. We want to see you grow and prosper. And when you ever have a need, you'll get personal attention right here at home, not in some far-off corporate office. Number one in customer service. Apex Bank of Camden, Benton County's best bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Operation 7570 this morning. Our guest is the park manager down at Nathan Bedford Forrest State Park in Eva. Joshua Justice is with us today. And as we get into this part, Josh, let's take a look back at 2022. How was visitors to the park? Did you have a lot of response? How do you think things in 2022 were, and what can we look forward to in the new year, in the coming years?
Okay. 22, it went great. We had high visitation numbers. We had nothing negative, I guess so. Nothing bad happened in 2022. So I think overall 2022 was a great year. This coming year, we're looking at getting everything up to par. So we recently redid the handicap fishing pier, which that was a 3-year process. And so we took care of Eva. Park office got painted and a new face put on it. A couple of the houses got painted and worked on. So this year we're going to finish Eva Beach. We are currently painting the insides of all the cabins. So we're trying to get the cabins up, getting them looking good and everything. They were built over 20 years ago, so they're starting to have a few little issues here and there. So we're hopefully this year tackle a lot of those issues. And this year we're going to try to get back to doing some of our programs that over the past years we'd gotten away from a little bit. I know everybody loves Lighting of the Knob. Lighting of the Knob is coming back, but a little modified. We're going to do more of a Christmas open house in December instead of the whole lighting thing, just to make it easier on staff and the park and everything, but still do something to highlight Pilot Knob and Christmas. So it's going to be more of a Christmas through the generations, Christmas through the years. So we're hoping to have Christmas trees decorated from like the 30s, and then a couple decorated 50s, and then 70s, and then 90s, and then today. So we go anywhere from people hand making ornaments through the gaudy years of the 70s and 80s and 90s Christmas trees, and then like a modern Christmas tree. So.
Did the pandemic in 2020 to where we are today, did the pandemic set you and the park officials, did it set you back any, or were people still during that time able to get out and still enjoy the outdoors somewhat?
The pandemic in 2020 was the biggest year for Tennessee State Parks it ever had. Because all the advice that everybody got was go outside, go outside, go outside. And they did. So we had a few weeks where they shut down when everything first happened, and they're like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on, and then, but after that, summer hit, we had higher numbers than we'd ever seen before at every park, so it really helped Tennessee State Parks, and a lot of that carried over through 2020 and 2021. People were still getting outside because a lot of places still weren't at 100% where they wanted to be back to normal. And then in 2022, a lot of your other places started opening back up, like your amusement parks and stuff like that, so our numbers went down a little bit. But 2020 was a great year for the state parks.
Yeah. Let's talk a few moments about the museum, a Top Pilot Knob, Folk Life Museum. I want to bring that out because when I was there last June for the first time in a long, long time, my goodness, I didn't realize everything there was. I've been there in the past, but, I thought, well, how did I miss this when I was here before? So you just tell me what's all on display up at the museum and what that part is all about.
Okay, our museum, it's a wide range of what's up there. It's called the Tennessee River Folk Life Museum, but so a lot of it that's in there is based on people that lived on the Tennessee River. So we have an old braille boat Mr. T.J. Whitfield used. And if you don't know what brailing is catching mussels with the boat. And it's really neat to see how they use that boat to catch mussels. And a lot of people don't understand it until they look at it and really figure it out. But whoever created that was a genius, in my opinion. But then we go from the brailing and the mussel side of it to just living on the river. We have Miss Maggie Lee Sayers pictures and stuff. She lived on the river. They were commercial fishermen. Of course, we have the snakes, everybody's favorite part of it, or the kids' favorite part. I won't say everybody's. We have a little Native American history, some arrowhead points and stuff that we donated to the park and we were using. Going around the museum. We have a display on logging, like traditional logging on the river, how they put all the logs together and floated them down the river to get them where they needed to go. And then if you go to the back room, we have Civil War history.
And I think when I was down there as well, I think I saw some old pictures of church services, all day singing and dinner on the ground type things back in the good old days.
Yes. We do have the, I almost said billboard, not really billboard, a poster board that has pictures of like when the old stone building was there.
Yes.
And we still have a lot of people come in and like, when I was little, we'd come up here and do this. And so we still have a lot of memories from that, the old building.
Yeah, and every now and then I'll see people post on Facebook old black and white photos when they were down at the old stone building, as a matter of fact. And it served its purpose very well. And it's nostalgic to take a look back at those type of things, Josh, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's good to know where you come from and where the park comes from. So history like that, as long as we have pictures and people sharing stories, history will stay with us.
Now, do the exhibits up there, or do you ever get anything like the bigger museums we might go to? Do you ever have something temporary, or can people donate to the museum?
You can donate if you have historical objects and stuff from the park or to tie into the region, to the area. We don't do a whole lot of temporary exhibits. That's honestly something I never thought about, but you've put it in my brain now, and something I'll think about, look into.
Well, I don't know, it just crossed my mind spur of the moment then on it. But people can donate, and you've got a nice gift shop up there as well for mugs, souvenirs,
Yes.
T-shirts, things like that.
Yes. Our gift shop, has steadily grown over the years. You can get T-shirts and toys and mugs and maps and anything you can think of from a normal state park gift shop you can get up there. So.
And I was just fascinated. Well, again, every time you go, you're going to see something different. Every time you go into the park grounds, I don't care if you're camping, hiking, whatever, you're going to do something you didn't do the last time on your visit. So
I hope so. We try to keep it busy enough for people to do stuff and try to do something new every time they're there. So.
now there is a great organization called Friends of Nathan Bedford Forrest, which does the festival every September down at Eva Beach. Always a great event. But what is Friends of Nathan Bedford Forrest all about, that particular group, and how do they fit in with the state park?
They are there to help the park in any way we need. So all the fundraising the Friends group does, all that money goes directly to the park. So like our original kayaks and canoes we had, all of that was bought by the Friends group. So the park budget has enough to cover operations and repairs and stuff like that, but very little left over in the budget to do new kayaks, new canoes, and stuff like that. So the Friends group, they fundraise and they provide money for all those little things that we can't get through the park budget. But they do so much for the park. Their events, they work the Pot Knob 10K, like you said, the music festival, and anything that doesn't tie directly to the story of the park. All those events go through the Friends group.
Melinda, Susan, everybody else down there, they just do a fantastic job with those chores and, and they're the support group, and I know they're already working on activities for the September down there for the festival as well as other things, and we want to give them a big shout out for all they do.
I tried to get the president of the Friends group to come today, but she wouldn't.
So. Maybe next time.
You have to get her in here by herself.
Well, we'll do that. We'll see if we can't do that as time goes along. Then you tell her that we'll work that out.
Yes.
We'll definitely work that out for sure. Josh, how can people help the state park, whether they're visiting or whether they're out and about here in the community? How can us as citizens help you and your staff down at NBF?
The easiest way is give reviews on the park. You can, if you rent a cabin, you rent a campsite, or if you just visit and do a hike or something, you can leave a review of the park. That helps us by telling us a lot of things that we miss. Like, hey, this trail has a tree down on it, or a lot of things that we might not see. Reviews really help. That's probably the quickest and easiest way you can help. Volunteering at the park is another big way. We do different volunteer days throughout the year. Our March 4th is our next one. That's our what they call the Weed Wrangle, and it's a statewide, if not national event. It's a cleanup day. We'll remove some invasive plants, or we'll pick up trash. I don't think we've got it all planned out for this year yet, but we do 3 or 4 of those throughout the year. So volunteering, you can join the Friends group. We always welcome new members of the Friends group, and it's just different people have different ideas. So you get a room of 10 people that have been the same 10 people, over the last 3 or 4 years. Ideas are sort of done. So if you add 2 or 3 more people, they have 2 or 3 different ideas, and that can actually help build the Friends group, build the park. So volunteering and what did I say? I can't remember. Volunteering and
just different things, just a host of ways. I mean, individuals, they may think of ways, they may have thoughts and ideas that they might want to share with you, as we mentioned, and you're always open and receptive to those ideas on how to make things better at the park.
Yes. Ideas are great. I can't always put those ideas into play.
I understand,
but
of course.
Some of them, little ideas I can work with. Big ideas takes a lot more than me to get them going. So that's a state thing. So
Sure, absolutely. Now, you mentioned the trails during the course of the program today, but what was it, late summer, early fall? Didn't the Bold grant here with the school system, didn't they?
Yes.
And, wasn't there the Storybook Trail? Tell me about the Storybook Trail. I wanted to bring that out today as well.
Yes, we have a new storybook trail we got last year, which is just right behind the park office. It's a short 0.3 of a mile trail, and that sort of just fell into our laps. I got an email that the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation wanted to give us a storybook trail and wanted to know if we had one to put it on and all this. So that foundation paid for all the trail, the storybook panels, and so we worked with the Friends group and we worked with the lady, I cannot remember her name, at the Boulder Grant here in Camden.
Betty Jordan?
Yes.
Betty, yes, Miss Betty.
Yes, and the Bold Grant paid for all of the wood we needed to put the panels into the ground. So between my maintenance crew doing the work and the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation providing the panels and the Bold Grant providing the lumber needed to put it in, we now have a storybook trail. It's behind the park office, and we actually sell the book in the gift shop. It's my first day as a state park ranger. So it's a neat little book, and it's a beautiful little trail, even if you're not there to read the panels.
And it's good for young and old alike down there, isn't it, to take the trail?
Yes. And the idea for the storybook trails through the state, you keep your trail for about a year, or your storybook for about a year, maybe 2 years, and then you alternate. So here in a couple of years, we'll get another one from a different park or a different playground somewhere, and we'll just put it and change everything out.
Yeah, when I was talking to Betty about that, back during the fall, as a matter of fact, she told me there will come a point in time where it will change out. There'll be another storybook.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Great, yep. Are there campers down there this time of year? Is the campgrounds closed right now? Or?
They are not closed. We have probably 6 campers this weekend. As long as it's mild weather, we get a lot. We get a lot of people that like to hunt, and so if they're hunting the wildlife management areas and stuff like that, they'll stay in our campground because it's just right around the corner to get to Harmon's Creek. So we have a few of those every year during hunting season and duck hunting and deer season, and then our cabins are full every weekend. So
Yep. Well, you can do something down at NBF any time of the year. Always great opportunities, great things to see. I don't care what seasons that you go, spring, summer, fall, or winter, always something to do down there. But hey, as you look at the calendar, busy season is just around the corner.
it is. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, we have programs every weekend, but we get busy. If it's nice in April, we're busy in April. So the weather has a lot to play with it in the early spring and late fall. But from April 1st to November 15th, we can be full just about every weekend. So
One thing I want to do sometime in the coming season as we go, as I see the news releases that come out and the advisories, I want to take one of those wagon rides from time to time. Those look like a lot of fun, Josh.
that is our number one program on the park. And it's not a smooth ride. If you don't like bumpy rides, the wagon is not for you. But yeah, we go around the campground picking up kids and adults alike, and just take them through the park. And it takes about a 30-minute ride, and it's full every time we do it.
And a good way to keep up with all activities is up on Facebook, I'm sure.
Yes, Facebook. We do a list. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, we'll do a list of what's going on those weekends, because that's our busy event weekends. But all of our other events, we try to do a Facebook post or a Facebook event, or you can go on to the Tennessee State Park website and find our park, and it will show all of our upcoming events.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you about on my talking points today, and I almost neglected it, but in our closing moments, there's been a project the last 2 or 3 years, I think, called Tennessee River Line.
Yes.
Yeah, what is Tennessee River Line? And we are a part of Tennessee River Line.
Yes, Benton County has more Tennessee River frontage than any county on the river. 652 miles, we have more frontage on the Tennessee River than any other county. So we are we were of the Tennessee River Line, which is just an organization out of Knoxville that is trying to tie in all the communities along the Tennessee River and get events like kayak floats. So we'll be doing 2 kayak floats and a riverline cleanup this year. So they'll be on our Facebook page and events, and those are free events, and it's just a partnership with us and the Riverline and different communities along the river. So.
Well, Josh, I appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much for giving up some of your Saturday morning, and maybe next time you can bring Kane with you for the program. I'd love to see Kane and some of his friends down there. I talk about Kane a lot, but he's got some good buddies down there too.
Yes.
The other snakes that you use on exhibits.
Yes, Kane and Leo are the 2 we take everywhere we go. They're just laid back. They've been doing it for a long time, so that's their job. But we have 4 snakes and a turtle that go to do programs with us. So.
Yeah. What about the owl? How's the owl doing down there?
The owl's good. It doesn't mind the cold, so if it gets a little cool and stuff like that, he enjoys it. But we do owl programs throughout the year. We are trying to fundraise for an aviary up at the Pilot Knob. So, and that's another way you can help the park. You can always donate. So, donations are things that we can use on projects that our budget won't cover.
Well, I thank you being here. Do you have a closing word for our audience today on Facebook or listening to us on the radio?
Just come down and visit the park. If you haven't been, or you haven't been in a long time, it's always changing, always got something going on. And in my opinion, right now, this time of year, Pilot Knob at about 4:30 is the best view in Benton County. So watch the sunset over the lake.
Every now and then, might you see an eagle on park grounds?
Yes, we have 2 nests on the park, at least 2 nests that we know of. So we'll starting from now until April, May, you'll see eagles, and one of the nests is right along one of our trails. So once they get babies in it, you can easily see the babies in the nest. So.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you again for being here today, and anything we can help you promote down at Nathan Bedford Forrest, feel free to call upon us at any time, and
yes, sir.
We'll have you back in and maybe some more park staff before too much longer down the road, my friend. Call on us anytime.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Josh Justice, ladies and gentlemen, the park manager down at Nathan Bedford Forest State Park at Eva, has been our guest today on Operation 7570. Thank you for being with us today on this cool Saturday morning. Our sponsor has been our friends at Apex Bank. Thanks to Luke Crutchfield in the other studio. Stay tuned because Luke is coming up next with the bargain auction. Have a great day, a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
Apex Bank of Camden, proudly serving the Benton County community since